in one of the Facebook groups for podcasters. It said, pick one reason why you think your podcast is successful. And I said, because I started it knowing it was a business, and I treated it as a business every single day. I'm always saying, okay, how do we do this? And right, we're doing it for 5 people now. How would we do it for 55 people? How would we do it for 5,500 people? How would we do it for 50,000 people? Let's build the system that supports where this is going to be, not where it is.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. All right, Kim.
About 3 weeks ago, we hit 5 million downloads, and I had been watching for it. And what was so funny was, it's a Saturday, and I'm doing the X amount of days of the month divided by the total downloads, time the days of the month. I should hit it on this day. I should hit it on this day. But the day kept backing up because the downloads kept growing. And I kept saying, well, we're not going to hit it on Friday. We're going to hit it on Thursday. And we're going to hit it on Wednesday. And then I remembered I was podcasting all day on Tuesday. And I knew that this was the day we potentially should hit it. And so I randomly was checking my phone during the day. And there it was. It was like 5:30 at night. It was like 5,000,000 like 7. And I was like, what is going on here? So I don't know. It's funny. It's just watching. It's like when you teach your kid to ride a bike and they're like riding and they fall. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, it's happening. And that's what it feels like. It feels like it's happening. First of all, I congratulate you on coming to this, because this is going to be an amazing day. You are going to learn things today, you are going to share things today, you are going to impact someone else's life today, okay? And that's gonna be super cool and super fun for you. This is a room of high-achieving men and women. Several of you have been to Power Talk Friday events before, and we have a different format for this event. In previous Power Talk Fridays, it's full-on presentation by one of the experts, full-on presentation, lunch, and then roundtable. This is going to be much more collaborative, much more like a high-level mastermind because of the brain trust of you guys. There are no quote-unquote newbie designers here.
So I've been to, I think, all but 2 Power Talk Fridays, and each time I keep coming and taking away different things. But this one was different. This Power Talk Friday is aimed at 7-figure plus firms.
Sometimes I really need to be with smarter people in the room, and because there were smart people in this room, you're just learning from those nuggets from other people just like you.
I am always shocked that people have the same struggles as me, who I idolize. You know, and it's so, because I always feel like they have it all together, and they're going to help me because they're there and they are not going through any of the things I'm going through. And to hear us all have the same struggles and pain points and growth, it's reassuring that it's one thing at a time. You know, you're not going to build it in a day.
As a lot of us creative entrepreneurs have, about 700 different roads that I am totally going to go down, and then I have to like pull my brakes and be like, okay, but which one makes the most sense and why, and how does it fit with my why and my lifestyle goals?
Power Talk Friday is very special for several reasons. One of the reasons is that you come in with a business challenge and you've got a brain trust of people in the room between myself and my experts and your peers. So it's very powerful because it's unlikely that you won't leave with a really specific thing to put into action in your business to change and propel your business. Almost always, someone learns something about their business that's a hard thing to learn. You're enjoying a good lifestyle, so you're consciously ignoring that you are not running it at a profitable business level. That's a thing. It's like if your mom gives you $10 allowance every week and you only spend $2, you're rich. When it's you, it's tough. But I know that it happens at every event. And so we're prepared for it, and we come to it with love and acceptance, unless you keep butting me. then you're going to get a problem. There was a particular situation with Michelle. Michelle is very, very successful. She runs an amazing business. Her work is fantastic, but she had an aha lesson that kind of took her knees out a little bit. And what I loved about Michelle was that she was strong enough in herself to keep hearing the lesson and not crumble, but just keep going, really? And how? Why? But she was rocked a little bit, right? But rocked like a CEO, right? A CEO doesn't fall down, right? So I'm gonna give Michelle the cred there and the props there. I do know, because she came up and said to me, this is crazy. This is crazy, like this is huge, this gap I have. I'm like, it is huge, but guess what? You're gonna fix it now. You're gonna leave and you have a plan. And she's like, I do. Well, the crazy part is that we come to the dinner that night, the celebration dinner, where I asked everyone to share an aha moment, a moment of gratitude, recognition for some conversation or something they learned in the room from any other person in the room. And Megan Moulton, who, I mean, this little lady, she's another podcast poster girl. She started her business 5 years ago and went from 0 to a gabillion, has multiple revenue streams, is killing it in every stretch of the imagination. At the celebration dinner, Megan Moulton looks over at Michelle and says, Michelle, I want to share with you. And at that moment, Michelle just literally knew exactly what Megan was going to say.
I don't know if you remember this, but my first
You're not. Oh my God, really?
mark.
Really? Oh shit. Okay. No. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Shit. Really? You for doing. Oh my God.
But they had spent 8 hours together, granted not at the same table, but 8 hours together, and Michelle had not made the connection.
It was my first market, October 2017. I was working my full-time
It
job,
seems like so much longer.
and I came
Oh my
to
God, that's
market.
hysterical. How funny is that you would need the same
And
person?
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
And
And so you were so helpful. You were so cute about it too. You were really helping.
I met you, and you inspired me. You were so giving, and I was so wanting to learn.
Oh my God.
You told me about your business and how successful you were, and I'll never forget. I said, one day I want to be as successful as her.
And here Megan recounted to her that she had met Michelle at her very first high point in 2017 and found herself sitting next to her and started to ask her a question about running an interior design business. And Michelle shared her heart with her. She sat there and she spoke to her and gave her tips and gave her advice. And Megan said, I have recounted the advice that you shared with me and the inspiration you gave with me, and I have looked up to you for the last 5 years. It was like a full circle moment. And what I loved about it was because it was one thing for me, for Vinny, for Eileen, for Jennifer, to say to Michelle, it's okay to have a rock your knees aha moment. That's what you come here for. If you walk in the door and you knew everything, what was the point of being here? And then for her to be the one person in the room that this rock star is like, you impacted my business, was, I just thought, such a great gift of the universe. And it was so amazing.
I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that. That is bizarre. That's so amazing.
Happy birthday, dear Lynn. Happy birthday to you.
You hear about people that have tremendous energy, right? That can, whether we run miles or swim miles or do all these things. But what about the mental, emotional, spiritual energy to show up for someone? And we all get tired at some point, whether introverts or extroverts, we get tired. But for her, her ability to focus, regardless of energy level, to the human being is tremendous.
There's other podcasts, there's other coaches, there's other people in this industry who you know, can talk the talk and walk the walk, but there's just a different delivery with Luann. And even when she summarizes the other presenters' work, it's just a different delivery. And she gets us, and she gets where we're at and what we need to hear.
Loyal listener, and you've been messaging me. I've had a few questions along the way, and always impressed that you would message me back.
Oh, don't be silly, of course.
I was in federal government for 10 years and hated it, and started listening to your podcast and completely changed my life. And
That's
now I work
awesome.
for
Where are you
Design
out of?
Build. Tacoma, Seattle area.
You inspire us so much.
Oh, that's
we
awesome.
Work together
Oh,
and,
that's great.
Just listening to you, and especially when your husband was on, got so much out of it. Next.
Oh, Nagara.
Thanks so much. They want a picture.
He said, can we get a picture with both of you?
Power couple, is that weird?
All right. Double power couple.
Her and her husband in that groove and just doing what they do together, their energy together.
A lot of people have said, how do you work with your wife all day? And for me personally, it's exhilarating. Matter of fact, once the podcast took off and she diverted a lot of her time to the podcast, I miss not having seen her every day.
It's something that I feel like we all want. Like, you know, we all want what she's got in whether it's success or, you know, just the way she holds herself, and I think that's what makes her attractive to us. She's approachable.
First of all, this is amazing. Thank you so much for coming to this birthday party. I'm absolutely honored and thrilled and excited and all the things for you to be here. Jake War Living, like seriously, for them and my Doma Studio to plan this and do this is incredible. So here's the thing, I'm 60. We were talking the other day, and Vinny happened to say to me, how old's your mom gonna be this year? And I'm like, she's gonna be 80. I'm like, how is that possible? She's 60. Like, I can't be 60, she's 60, and I'm 40. Stop all this. When it came time to do the podcast, I had been listening to podcasts for several years, in like 2006. And I was on a podcast all of a sudden. It was a weird thing. It was on Harrow. Anybody heard of Harrow? Help a Reporter Out. And I was like, that's interesting. They want to talk to somebody about entrepreneurship. And the second I clicked off on the Skype, I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, I need one of those. I need me at the podcast. That was cool. And I was like, I wonder how you do a podcast. And so I spent the next 3 months devouring every single piece of content I could on how to podcast. Books, YouTube, you know, other podcasts, all of the things. And I've also started coming up with the business plan for it because I wasn't interested in a hobby. I had hobbies. I went to yoga back in the day, swam laps, ran half marathons and tries. I did all those, that was my fun. So this podcast was not going to be for fun. I surely expected it and it has been fun, but I wanted it to be a business. Finally, it's October and I'm like, I'm ready. I've got my plan, I'm ready. So I said to him, you know, this weekend when we're at the beach, I'd like about an hour of your time, undivided. And he goes, we're at the beach by ourselves all weekend, every weekend. I'm like, no, actually eyeball to eyeball. So we sit down and then I proceeded to run him through. And he's like grilling me, and how about this, and what about that, and how are you gonna do this, and how are you gonna do that? And I had my answers, I was ready. And at the end of it, he looks at me and he's like, this makes sense. I think this makes sense. And I'm like, it makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? He's like, I think it does. I'm like, okay. He's like, so we're doing it? I'm like, so we're doing it? He's like, so we're doing it. And we did it, didn't we? With your help, right? And then I will tell you, the final defining moment is this space right here. It's these faces. It's your faces looking at me. It's every time I walk into market, into KBIS, into wherever I go, and you stop me. And I wear green so you can know it's me. I do. It's on purpose. But I love it. I love that we have become friends. I love that I recognize you, and I love that I know who you are, and I feel like that you know who I am. And this community that we have created together, it is an amazing moment in time and space to be part of and to share with you guys. I just thank you. Just thank you. Just thank you to all of you, the faces that I see here. Vincenz for believing in the crazy plan and for being on board when, here's the other thing, it's just like everything else. You look at somebody's business on Instagram and you think what it is. You think that designer has got it easy and it's just all this and it just all worked out and all the things. It takes money and time. It's working now, all of the revenue streams that were on that list. But there was 2 years of investing. I have people come up to me and say, I'm not sure, should I invest $2,000 in this course or in that coach or whatever? The answer is yes. Yes. You can't grow your business without having somebody next to you that knows a little more than you do. Where would I be if I hadn't invested in Nicole Heimer as creative director of Luann Nigara Inc.? Where would I be? The whole thing it took 4 years till I found Diana. Diana would have fixed it if I had screwed it up for 4 years, I promise you. She would have made us look pretty again. But this woman out the gate had me looking professional and being professional. I don't have that superpower. So if you don't have the superpower for finance, or you don't have the superpower to build a website, or you don't have the superpower for rendering, go get a professional. Invest in it and do it. It takes money to make money, right? And it's time or money, right? We say on the show all the time, time or money. At that point in my life, we were spending money to make it happen. But anyway, so I just thank you, Vinny. Honestly, thank you, because this has been...
I am one of those people that shares your name with everybody I meet here.
Thank you.
Everyone that I meet, have you heard of Luann? Have you heard of Luann? The reason is, I've been in business since 2004. I've been making a modest income. In 2017, I connected with your podcast, and I quadrupled my income. I have some confidence now. I thought I did before, but now I really do. I think it just sort of, beams out of me. I'm a different person. And honestly, it's because of you, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
I met you in February of 2020.
Okay.
At the Merchandise Mart at Wendy Cohen's Powerhouse Smart event.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were the keynote speaker.
Yep.
And you sat down next to me and you said, "Are you making money?"
You kind of get right to it.
And I said, "I'm working on it." And I'm happy to say, yes, I have the same thing to say that you just said. We are double over double over double year after year in Chicago and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and you inspire me.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
I know this is my space. This is where I love to be. I love the relationship with all of the people I make. I can be in a room with 200 people and I feel like I could at least name half of them. I mean, when we did Luann Live in 2019, there were 250 people in the room, and I think there were 3 people that when I called them over the course of 2.5 days, that I wasn't 100% sure of their first name before they started talking. And so for me, to be able to do what I really love doing, but feel like I'm actually doing it with a live human, not just a quote unquote audience, that is like icing on the cake all day. Does that mean that every day's a great day? It's still a job. You're still having challenges. But I mean, I have the best husband on the planet. I have great kids. We've had a beautiful team at WindowWorks all through the years, all the people that have worked for us. You know, I'm a glass is half full girl. Like, I'm looking for the good moment in everything I do. I thought I loved doing WindowWorks. I did love doing WindowWorks. I've had my love affair with it on and off over the years. Any entrepreneur that builds a business for 40 years is going to have to say that truthfully, right? But I did love doing it. I love sales. I love my relationships with interior designers that we worked on project after project. And I knew there were parts of it that were really hard, to have to buckle down and pay attention to 1/16 of an inch and, you know, how many yards and change it and all that. But you know what it was? I think I just always assumed that there was always a part of your job that's going to be hard. So put your big girl panties on and do it. And it wasn't until I pivoted into this and I started to build this company that I was like, oh, there's nothing that's hard. There's nothing that I don't feel like doing. It's like mind-blowing. All of it I like to do, and that's really cool.